Stay safe, I'm Uncle Ivan. Today is September 19th, 2025, and I'm here to bring you some recent news related to theological research. Theology Today has published a pre-release online research article, co-authored by scholars from the Boston University School of Theology, focusing on the interpretation of Esther chapter 4. The article explores how churches can break their silence and respond to social injustice through faith in highly charged contexts. Using Esther's advice as a model for practicing public theology, the article argues that under ethnic and political pressure, communities must both resist assimilation and avoid retreat, employing group discernment and courageous intercession as pathways for action. This research offers valuable insights for Chinese churches in a diverse society. It can strengthen biblical and contextual interpretation in the pulpit and in small groups, while also maintaining a witness of truth and love in social dialogue. Pastors can design workshops based on this research, inviting believers to bear public witness through witness and intercession. The intercessory focus: pray for both strength and tenderness for churches under pressure in a diverse society, and for wisdom and caution in the words and actions of believers in the public sphere. Emory University's Candler School of Theology will hold a conference titled Pastoral Leadership in the Age of Christian Nationalism from September 23rd to 26th, focusing on how churches can maintain the core of the gospel amidst a highly politicized religious narrative and minister to communities impacted by a fractured society. Topics will include discerning national symbols in worship, public theology in preaching, conflict mediation and spiritual care, and the safety and belonging of vulnerable groups. Pastoral implications include 1. Reaffirming the Church's sole allegiance to the triune God through creeds and liturgy. 2. Designing discipleship programs addressing the three axes of identity, power, hope. 3. Establishing interdisciplinary listening groups during election season. And 4. Establishing crisis communication procedures to protect congregants. Prayer focus: pray for the ability to discern spirits in churches, so that pulpits and small groups can be built in truth and peace. Duke Divinity School hosted DITA 2025, a surprising encounter of theology and art, a 4-day seminar. Returning to the Christological foundation of the Nicene Creeds, Oneness of Essence, the seminar explored how art can open up doctrinal perceptions in the Church's interpretation and worship. Scholars and artists will collaborate to experiment with the interweaving of preaching, music, visuals, and space, attempting to transform the Creed's doctrines from abstractions into experiential truths through the holistic framework of beauty, truth, and goodness. Ministry applications: 1. Reshape the annual sermon and hymn selections around the Creed. 2. Incorporate Seeing the Doctrine art meditation sessions into Sundays and retreats. 3. Design intergenerational curricula to engage youth in creative responses to Christological essentials. Prayer focus: pray for a renewed appreciation of Orthodox doctrine in the Church and for the use of aesthetic resources to minister to unbelievers and marginalized groups. Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary announced the launch of a new DMin program in pastoral counseling and soul care, launched September 11th. Through phased residencies and practical mentorship, the program integrates spiritual traditions, clinical approaches, and ethical frameworks to address the spiritual and emotional needs of congregants experiencing trauma, anxiety, and grief. Implications for on-site pastoral care include 1. Incorporating trauma-informed (TI) assessments into visitation and counseling processes. 2. Centering spiritual recovery through the use of psalms and prayer practices. 3. Establishing referral and confidentiality mechanisms to protect vulnerable individuals. And 4. Establishing a tripartite collaborative network: spirituality, psychology, and ethics. Intercessory prayer focuses on enabling churches to become places of safety and hope during mental health crises, and interceding for the well-being of pastor trainees, both physically and mentally, and for their families. But in your heart sanctify Christ as Lord, always being prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that is in you, but with gentleness and respect. 1 Peter 3 verse 15, faced with sharp public issues and increasing physical, mental, and spiritual pressure on the congregation, today's theological research reminds us, with the creed as the boundary, love as the model, and hope as the driving force, we can weave doctrine, pastoral care, and art into a tangible gospel witness. And pastoral training and curriculum updates will establish sustainable soul care and public witness capabilities for the church, and become a group that gives everyone an answer with gentleness and respect. If you'd like to learn more about today's news or other content, please leave a comment below. Thank you for your support. I hope you will subscribe, enable notifications, and share to support the continuation of this channel. To learn more, you can also visit my Patreon. Let us learn about God, reflect on faith, and live out Christ together.